last one of them. Grab some gear. This is what I do.
Welcome to Red Reviews. Today we are covering Resident Evil. If you couldn't tell, Resident Evil, the final chapter, has hit theaters, and now we're going to talk about it. Now, I make it no secret when you bring up Resident Evil around me, even though I own them all, because apparently I'm an idiot, and I keep saying the next one, they're going to get it right. I don't make it any secret that I have my problems with the franchise. And I think that many people who have problems with the franchise, who also don't make it a secret, it's because we grew up with the games. We're a fan of the games. Now, the games can get outlandish, too, with 5, and especially with 6, where it just became a Call of Duty shooter fest. But survival horror, 1, 2, Nemesis, Code Veronica, 4, and even some of the offshoot ones, Resident Evil Dead Aim, and, there's 100 Resident Evil games. But those games were survival horror, dark corners, conserving ammo, and then these movies come out and they become almost like an action fest, over-the-top sci-fi, unbelievable CGI crap fest. And another main problem that fans of the games have is Milla Jovovich's character, Alice. Alice is nowhere to be found in the games. And this wouldn't be such a problem if you can't tell by the covers, Milla Jovovich is front and center in all of these movies. And so when you bring in characters from the games like Leon, Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, Jill Valentine, people that we know from the games, we've loved from the games, that have their memorable moments stolen from them in the movies, such as Apocalypse, where Alice takes on Nemesis. It's always been Jill Valentine taking on Nemesis. Very memorable storyline from her. So when you have popular people from the game having to take the back seat to Alice's character, a character that's not in the game, it tends to offend some people, and the fact that no one is allowed to do anything cool in this series except for Alice. Anytime a boss is taken care of, anytime a cool action sequence is done, Alice is front and center, and then you have the side characters, which are the main characters in the game. Like I said, they just have to take the back seat, and it makes us a little angry. Plus, the survival horror aspect is gone a lot when you have people doing the stuff that Milla Jovovich does in these ones, where she gets powers, and she does backflips, and she has telekinetic powers, and they become outlandish by the time we get to Retribution. So, and we start even like right here. We start the craziness. A perfect analogy for this series is in Apocalypse, where Jill Valentine is actually in a church. It's completely dark. There's lickers, which are the creatures from the game. They're crawling all over the ceiling. She's trying to kill them, but she's not having any luck. She's like, I'm running low on ammo. So you got that. You got the dark, confined corners, low on ammo, because everyone who plays Resident Evil knows you got to conserve your ammo. And then Alice comes flying through the window of the church on a motorcycle and hits the liquor and revs up into the sky because gravity's no problem. And then she slow-mo shoots and you travel with the bullets, and then it hits the gas tank of the motorcycle and blows up. That's basically this series in a nutshell, where once in a while you get that sense of the game, those dark corners, the low on ammo, the sense of terror and dread. And then Alice comes in and does something that's just complete crap, and it ruins anything you had going for you. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. Oh, one other thing. Also, the problem I have with the movies is that the writer, Milla Jovovich's husband, maybe there's a connection on why she's front and center. She's married to the man who writes and directs at least 3 of them, but he's written them all. He takes like parts from each game, like he's read the back cover of each game. He's like, okay, I got it. And he takes the formula and certain elements, and he throws them in a blender, and then but he doesn't put the top on the blender, and then you get that. So you'll have the Nemesis here, but then you'll have like the dog somewhere else, then you'll have this boss somewhere else, then you'll have Claire over here, and so like there's no through storyline, so they don't follow in the format of the game. So you have like a mishmash, like in excuse me one second. Afterlife, I have to cheat because they start to blur together. Afterlife, like you got the Executioner, the Axeman in there, but he's really not supposed to be there. He's in the 5th game. He's supposed to be all the way in Africa, but he looked cool, so why not put him in the movie? Anyway, onwards and upwards. I had to get off my chest. Resident Evil, the final chapter. Well, like I said, it's the final one. Could they pull it all together? Well, guys, damn it, I went into this movie and I was like, I cannot wait to tear this movie apart. And here we go. This is my favorite one of the series, guys. I can't believe I'm saying this. It took him what are we at? 6 movies. It took us 6 movies to get here, but I actually had fun with this movie. Milla Jovovich isn't doing all of her backflips and her crazy stunts. She still has a few wacky stunts, but nothing like they do in some of the other ones. She doesn't have her telekinetic power, so she's a very actually grounded character. I like the story. I don't know why, because there's still outlandish stuff happening, but I actually enjoyed this one for some weird reason. I think it had more parts that felt like the game. They went out of their way to put in scenarios where it's dark and you can't always see the monster you're going after. And how are we gonna, kill this monster? We don't have a lot of bullets. We're low on ammo. So half the movie is trying to get to Raccoon City. We're trying to get back to the Hive because there is actually an anti-cure, an airborne anti-cure. There's only one vial. The Red Queen has sort of recruited Alice's character to go back and gotta grab this, and we can stop all of this. Milla Jovovich's character Alice is persuaded to go back by the Red Queen, who has a little bit of a change of heart through things that develop in the story with her programming. She cannot herself release the cure or go against Umbrella programming or harm an employee of Umbrella, but she can recruit Alice to do all that for her. So half of our movie is getting to Raccoon City and getting back into the Hive where the first movie took place, and then the second half of the movie, which I enjoyed actually even more than the first half, is getting down to the bottom of the Hive. So there they have to get through certain stages as Wesker keeps activating certain scenarios that will deter them from getting down there. There's a really cool scene where they have to get through the fan intake blades that gets air to the rest of the Hive, and it's actually a really intense scene where they have to because they're crawling through it, and it's at any moment it can turn on, but they make it through successfully. But then Wesker, being the a-hole that Wesker is, turns the blades on backwards and starts sucking them in. So it's actually a really cool sequence. Then they get into the ventilation shaft, and each of them get thrown into different parts of the Hive, and so they get to tackle different monsters. You get to see a lot more of the Hive. It's got that Resident Evil feel where you're in places that are all worn out, worn down, destroyed, bloody, corpses hanging from the ceiling. Very Resident Evil type settings, which is awesome. I really enjoyed that. Dr. Isaacs is back, and they explain all that, because we know that clones exist through this series, if you're at this point. So I can actually recommend Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. Being the 6th one in the series, though, you probably know if you're going to go watch it, if you're up to this point. It follows a lot of points that the other Resident Evils does. We're going to start with the opening monologue. Hi, my name is Alice. This is my story. La-di-da. There's a few good jump scares in here, actually, which is nice for Resident Evil, because there was nothing scary about any of these past couple ones. I see the first one is probably the main one you'd have to watch. If you were going to skip out on some of these, that's fine, because at the end of this one, which is Retribution, I get my names of these. When we get 6 deep, I start to get sidetracked on which title is which. They ended with the big pullout shot of the White House, and we're going to have a big throwdown. This is the last fight for mankind. Well, this one starts, and don't worry about all that, because it looks like it's after the fight. Wesker has betrayed them for some reason. He's back at the Hive, so it actually pays no mention of that. Remember the daughter in the last one? No mention of that. Don't worry about it. I was a little hesitant in the beginning, because you seem to be thrown into these action sequences there now and again. You see the flying creature in the trailer, which is one of the bosses from the 5th game. That's just kind of in your face right there at the beginning, and then she's driving back to the Hive, and she gets run off the road, and then you see where she's hanging under the underpass. That's just she gets sidetracked there in the beginning, because it's well, we have this really cool idea on how can we fit this action sequence into it. I'll just have her get derailed to the Hive. But a few nitpicks here and there. The biggest one, though, I must say, is the editing in this movie is god-awful. Every time a gun fires, it has to cut to a new shot. So that's how fast it edits. It's like rapid-fire, gunfire-type editing. So if the editing would just slow down, this movie would actually be even better. But I can say that it's actually the best one in the series. I think slightly even outranking the first one, which was my favorite because it was closer to the way the games are. So actually, I'm going to eat my words. I'm going to say it. Go and check out Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. Spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, the airborne antigen. All right, it's out there. It's killing all the zombies. So you think, oh, this is it. Alice is done for. It's the final chapter. Nope. Her final words in the movie are, "My fight has just begun." So we're one box office success away from Resident Evil: A New Beginning. But If you're not into these and you're more strict on the game, hey, go out, check out these ones, the CG ones that are actually made by Capcom that exist actually inside the game universe. So these actually take place between, I think, Resident Evil 5 and 6, and then 6 and 7. There's a new one coming out here later this year. Check these out. They have Leon S. Kennedy. He's the main character. So I can recommend these if you're not a fan of these, if you're a hardcore fan of the games. Check out these CG ones. If you are a fan of these, you're actually going to really love Resident Evil, the final chapter. Comment below. Hey, let me know what's your favorite zombie movie. There's tons to choose from. So let me know in the comments section below. Like and subscribe as always, and I will catch you guys next time right here on Red Reviews.